Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning into our second S&B training for the month. Okay, so as always, it's a privilege and always an honor for me to be able to present with you today, okay, to share with you. So the focus for this month is GLP-1 affecting other organs, all right? So for the past 2 weeks, we touched on the heart. Okay, so today we will go into another organ, which is the liver. All right, so the reason why I go into this topic, because I know there's a lot of truth that we can uncover. All right. But it is, frankly, it's only when I was doing this topic, I discovered a lot of surprising truth, okay, on how important is the liver really to metabolic health. So why I feel that it's so important to stress on this hormone is because I do believe that people have the understanding, they know that liver is a very important organ. But the understanding about liver is actually very shallow. Okay, it's very minimal only. So if I were to ask you this question, right? Okay, so what is liver to you? Okay, what's the function of the liver? Most people would give an answer like, okay, if you drink alcohol, it's not good for the liver. All right, and you're going to have fatty liver if you take alcohol, right? And there are other things like, oh, if you take a lot of drugs, a lot of medication, it's going to burden your liver. Hence, you're going to have all kinds of liver-related problems, or, if it's like a detox organ, if you have ingest anything, it's going to damage your liver. Or most people would relate liver to stress. If you don't sleep enough, if you're very stressed, then you will hurt your liver. So this is what most people understand about the liver, Okay, but in reality, it's so much more than that, okay? So if you were to go into the context of science and how I would relate it to other people, okay, is this. Okay, I know you may be feeling a bit strange. Why is there suddenly an image of a parent here? Okay, what does this have to do with today's topic? So as I was doing my this presentation, I was thinking, how would I relate this liver to what I understand about how important this is to our body? Okay, like what Dr. Benjamin said, okay, liver is like a soccer mom, all right? Soccer mom is an American slang where they say it's like a busy mom, okay, being a center of a family unit. Okay, and I'm pretty sure we all know that, okay, if you think of your own parents, if I think back about my parents, it's the same thing. Okay, there's just something about mothers that I think that they are just superhumans now, right? Okay, they do so much at home, they cook, they clean, children, husbands, send children to tuition, okay? And thinking back, I have those memories of my mom juggling through career, and they are also the nurse at home. They teach us, they counsel us, whenever we are going through a difficult situation. And truly, I think mothers play a very important role in a family unit. All right. And without mothers, really, the family would be, a little bit unhappy, we would say that. Okay. And it's very difficult to sustain a home without a very central figure, which is our parents, okay, a mom in particular. Okay, so liver is something like that to our body. Okay, it does a lot of function. In fact, it performs more than 500 vital functions to all over the body. Okay, almost every single function that you can think of, it has a role in it. It may not be the major role, but it has a very important supportive role. So without the function of the liver, some of these processes that we know cannot function normally. So what are some of these important functions? So number one, do you know actually our blood production relies a lot on the liver? Okay, of course, our bone marrow is the main thing that produces red blood cells, but our liver actually helps to release iron to the blood so that our red blood cells are taking iron and it will recycle. Okay, when our blood is done with its job, it will recycle and go back to the liver for storage, and then it will keep producing again. So it plays a very important thing to sustain our life, which is blood production. Okay, it also supports immunity. Without liver, it produces very important proteins for your antibody to function. Okay, so if the liver is not doing very well, very likely this person will also be immune-wise down as well. Okay, and of course, it plays a very important function. And this is true, okay, in terms of alcohol and Because actually alcohol is toxic to our body. And likewise to all these drugs. So what liver does is that they convert all these harmful substances to less harmful substances for our body to use. Okay, that's why it's encouraged not to take them too much. Okay, and I want to stress on both of these parts. Okay, these are the two components that many people don't realize at all. Okay, they totally don't know that actually our liver is the main controller. It is the main deciding organ that will decide how our body will metabolize protein, carbohydrate, and fat, and as well as all the fat that's in our body. It's involved in fat digestion, burning, storage, and production. Okay, and in fact, such a critical role that is known as a metabolic organ. So it's not just the pancreas that releases insulin. Okay, of course, we know that's very important. But as we learn more about this, you will come to realize actually it plays such a critical piece of puzzle in our health. And this is maybe one of the reasons why people are not really seeing breakthroughs, because there may be something wrong with their liver. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this. In fact, I don't think I can finish in this one session, and very likely there will be a part 2 to this series as well. So stay tuned to our next series in August. All right. So it is a metabolic organ, and it is actually involved in how our body were to use these nutrients. Okay. So how our body store it, okay, and how our body can even produce. Actually, our liver can produce protein, Our body can also produce sugar or fat. So it's a very multi-purpose organ, in fact, the supercomputer in our body. All right. And it's also known as the metabolic mastermind because it is the decision maker. It decides how your body were to gain weight. Are you going to store fat? Are you going to produce more fat? Are you going to burn fat? Okay, actually, it is largely decided by this organ known as the liver. Okay, so it makes very important decisions for us. Okay, do we keep fat? Do we produce more fat? Or we use the fat as energy? Okay, so it's not decided so much on other things, but liver really is the main organ. All right, so as we go into that, there are 3 checkpoints before the liver were to make any decision. Okay, so it is dependent on the field decision making first. So the first checkpoint is definitely the type of food that you eat. Okay, whatever food that you take is going to influence certain changes in the body. All right, and of course, with all these different micronutrients, it will affect insulin production. Okay, still insulin is a very important, it's a very critical hormone still, and it does a lot of function in the body. But insulin will send a very important signal to our liver. Okay, and it will make our liver decide. So do I store this as fat? Do I use the nutrients that I've eaten to produce even more fat? Or do I use this nutrient to burn as a source of energy for this person? Okay, right? So we're going to go into this first, right? How different food can affect insulin. Okay, so just to bring everyone to a bit of a reminder, okay, what class of food will have the most reaction to insulin hormone? All right, so fat don't have any effect on insulin hormone, okay? It is very minimal. Protein have a small effect on our insulin spike, okay? But carbohydrate has the largest effect, okay? So whenever we have a high carbohydrate intake food, we are going to usher in or to signal a large volume of insulin in our body. Okay, so insulin is the strongest signal for our liver to produce fat. Okay, in fact, it is so strong that Dr. Benjamin said that it has a very controlling authority to the body. Okay, that for some reason the liver will only listen to insulin only. So in fact, if there is no insulin, our liver cannot produce any fat anymore. So this is the reason why he emphasizes a lot about controlling the insulin levels. And this is the reason why we emphasize a lot about insulin resistance, because if you cannot control this signal, it's going to send all kinds of signal to your liver to do the things that you do not want it to do, like storing more fat. Okay? So it's going to communicate to the liver and it's what it's going to do, okay? And it's going to cause a lot of problems to our body. So the problem is with this is that the food that we eat always, and especially Asian food, has high carbohydrate and high fat. Of course, Western food also has this problem, but they don't have diabetes as serious as Southeast Asia here, frankly, because their food is mostly high fat and high protein, but ours is high carbs and high fat. Okay, so there cannot be an even more worse combination than this. So once this happens, it triggers a high surge of insulin into our body. All right. And when that happens, it will break down to sugar. So carbohydrate will become small, sugar, and then it will go immediately into your liver. So your liver will take it as a signal as, oh, it's a lot of sugar. I have to store it. So immediately it will just keep taking in all this excess sugar from your bloodstream. Okay, and this is what the liver will do. Okay, it's time for me to store more fat. So after a sustained period of time, okay, with a high volume of all these high carbohydrate food that you eat, all this sugar will eventually become fat. All right, because too much already, all right, that it just becomes fat. So your liver will start to produce more and more fat, okay, because there's just too much in the liver. And it doesn't stop there, It's not like, okay, fatty liver or whatever. Okay, it doesn't stop there. But what it does is that your liver will break down this fat particle and release it to other part of your body. Okay? Your liver will start to break this all this fat deposit and release it in the form of cholesterol. Okay, our liver actually produces cholesterol, right? So when it produces its own cholesterol, and if we have a surplus of all this sugar, it will, be released in LDL in the form of triglyceride. So you will find that a person who has, high insulin, obviously, okay, very, very naturally, they will also have all these circulating triglyceride and LDL in their bloodstream as well. So these are all fat, all released from the liver one. So there's a lot already, right, in your bloodstream. So after that, it will go to other organs. So all this LDL and triglyceride will go into your heart or your blood vessel, okay? And it will also store as your belly fat and your visceral fat. Okay, so you understand a lot. So this is the whole picture about what happens when you were to take high carbohydrate food. And the role of the liver actually, it is one of the major organ that releases a lot of fat to remaining of the body and even producing harmful effect to all these other organs. All right. So in order for us to control this and to not allow this to happen, there needs to be 3 checkpoints that we have to look into. So number one, we have to control the impact of food into our body. This is in fact, actually all are important to be frank, but this is the main gatekeeper. If we can control this, then very likely the insulin level will also reduce and it will not burden our liver. And our liver will change the direction. Okay, rather than storing fat, rather than accumulating all this sugar, it will start to use the sugar and start to burn fat. Right? So it all starts with this first checkpoint first. And of course, after that, we also have to make sure it's low insulin level so that our liver will not take it as a signal to produce even more fat. Right? And lastly, we have to optimize the liver. All right? Because if we can optimize the liver, we can control it to do what we want it to do, which is to burn more fat and to reduce cholesterol and all these kind of things. So actually, 3 of them are equally as important. Okay? Okay, so I want to share something quite interesting with you all. Okay, so you all see this image here, right? Both food. So which food you think is actually healthier or more beneficial for you? Okay, so for me, if based on my knowledge, last time I would have chosen porridge. Okay, because porridge is standard medicine, it's like sick people food, right? You see, if you're sick or what, you should be eating porridge. But this one don't look very healthy because there's fatty meat here and like high fat and like it's more oily, right? So most people would think that okay, porridge should be the healthier or the more beneficial choice. Okay, but if you look into this image here, okay, this is white rice. Okay, porridge is made from rice. It has a GI of 96. So the full score is 100. So the higher your GI score is 100, the more it will spike your insulin levels. Okay, it's called glycemic index. So it has a pretty high glycemic index. It will shoot your insulin like immediately, okay? So it has 96. But if you were to eat rice with some meat, oil, and a bit of vegetable, you can reduce half, You can actually reduce your insulin spike to a half. So I think it's actually quite interesting, all right, to see the effect of how food can influence our insulin and our sugar levels, okay? So diet The highest insulin spike is those with high carbs, okay? But usually we don't eat pure carbs. A lot of it, we definitely have a bit of fat. Of course, we did talk about how fat will increase minimal. Okay, so in terms of insulin effects, not so much, but excessive fat, when you have too much fat, it will become, it will accumulate as fat in our liver also. So that's not what we want, end of the day. Okay, so of course, all these are foods that you eat almost every day, right? Sugar drink or chocolate or dessert. And I want to tackle more on our day-to-day food, especially during lunchtime when we are working, It is honestly very, very difficult to find something that it is balanced and will not backfire unless it's home cooked food, really. Even just now lunch, I also don't know where to eat. And in the end, I also eat all this, I also eat all this not very ideal food. And I'm pretty sure my insulin will go spike. Because there's really no choice, because it's really, unless you have the time. Because, okay, I know noodles, but people will think it's healthier. In a sense, calorie-wise, it's better than fried rice. But actually, in terms of insulin, it's not good. Porridge is even worse because when you boil it, you break the rice particle, and more of this sugar it's actually more easily go into your bloodstream. So your sugar will actually spike. So all this, frankly, Asian food is not that good for bloodstream, and it's really not that good for diabetes at all. All right, and they will spike your sugar immediately and will signal insulin to release. Okay, so then this gives you a bit of protein here. So what can it do to help? Okay, frankly, nothing much. In fact, this may be a bit controversial, but if you were to choose certain food that is slightly better than noodles, I would encourage you to take something that has a bit more meat and some veggie if you can. All right, so this is zhicha, or they call it zafran. So this is not very ideal, but it is actually better. Okay, because you still have a bit of meat, even though they still got put sugar in their, in their cooking, but still, you can balance it out with some protein and some vegetables. So in that sense, it's more ideal. All right, and this one, there's a bit of meat here, so it's slightly better, and this is like, chicken rice. So of course, in terms of calories, may not be very ideal, but in terms of sugar and insulin spike, it is actually better. Right? But there is a problem because it's very difficult to strike a balance for carbohydrate, protein, and fat and fiber when eating out. It's very difficult, especially vegetables. Okay, it's so hard to get the right kind of amount. And it's mostly high carbs and fat, and this fat is mostly excessive and unhealthy fat. So even if you were to take it, it will not affect your insulin as much, but it will be converted as fat in your liver. So that's not what we want, okay? And it's very low in protein. So that's not good. And even with food, as I said, okay, too much fat will lead to storage of fat in the liver. And there needs to be some tools to help make staying healthy more practical and easy to follow. Okay, because like the first signal in the first checkpoint is already very challenging for most of us. Okay. And if there's nothing to help us in that, healthy living is actually very difficult to manage. Okay. And people will give up halfway. So this is where this 2-product-1 practice is very practical, and it's the easiest way for people to incorporate a healthy lifestyle in their daily life. So like I said, one major problem eating out really is not enough vegetable and fiber. Okay, you just now I go and eat. There's hardly any, not even one strand of vegetable was in my fried rice or whatever. So it's almost impossible to get any fiber from meat. And there's no proper buffer to absorb excessive carbs or unhealthy fat. So there's nothing at all. And we are just eating this directly into our bodies. And okay lah, just to sustain us, but it's spike. Okay. And after that, we feel very tired after meal. And we cannot think also. So what can we do to manage this? Okay, so thankfully we have this thing called Bio's Life S. Okay, it's really a lifesaver. All right. It's not just the ordinary fiber that you just get from any pharmacy. Right? In fact, we have extract specific parts of all these fiber sources. There are 6 types, okay? 2 of them come from oats, but the rest of them are very specialized fiber that we extract them to give us the best effect in cushioning our sugar and sugar, cholesterol, and also insulin levels. All right? So there are 6 different fiber, and you have taken that with certain technology. So you can see that in the back of the package, you can see that you actually provide other benefits to your heart, and also a very specific gelling effect that is specific into catching on to excess carbohydrate. All right. And of course, we supplement it with 13 vitamins and minerals. So this is the thing before you eat, like maybe 5 minutes before food, you just eat a buffer, or even during food, you just take as a buffer so it can, absorb all the excessive carbs and really help to remove them from our system. Okay, and just to give you a bit of background, it's very low in calories, only 24. It doesn't really do much to, and the total sugar is 0.4 grams. Okay, it's less than 1 gram, and it's all because due to the natural sugars from all these fiber sources. Okay, we don't have any added sugar, and the fiber is 4 grams. Do you know in our whatever, fried rice or what, it's not even 2 grams of fiber in one meal. Okay, we don't even hit 2 grams in our normal. So one day, we don't even hit 5 grams of fiber in a day. So this one, if you take two, you already hit at least 8. Okay, for the rest, you should take from vegetable. So it's a very helpful way for us to bulk up on that fiber intake. All right. And these are the proven results that we have. Okay, not just any kind of fiber that doesn't really come with any results anyway. So we can, here is to prove that after taking bile plus F, individuals find that their sugar levels drastically reduce post taking this afternoon. All right. So with this, it will bring through a lot of beneficial effect and putting down those signals in our body. All right. So after controlling the impact of food, we also want to try to really manage this thing called insulin. Okay, because it is the biggest fat signal to our body. So how can we achieve that? Right? So this second one, okay, I want to talk a bit about insulin resistance. So how does it happen in our body? So typically when you eat something, okay, or like high intake of unhealthy food, it will lead to high sugar in the bloodstream, right? So eventually this will stress our pancreas. It will start to produce a lot of insulin, a high volume of insulin in our body, and subsequently our body cannot metabolize. Okay, there will be a lot of sugar and a lot of insulin in the long run. So this is what we call insulin resistance. Okay, where our body just break down. Okay, that it just cannot respond to the insulin. So how can we reverse this? Okay, what can we do to break this? So this is where GLP-1 comes into the picture. All right, it's a huge buzzword right now, and in fact, there's a lot of studies about it to help. So GLP-1 is this thing that's produced in the gut, okay, and of course we have products that can help that. So if there's GLP-1, it will then make our body, it communicate to insulin, the pancreas. So GLP-1 will make our body more sensitive to the action of insulin, and our pancreas will also release insulin a lot quicker as well as a result, okay? Triggers earlier release of insulin. So how does this help our body? So if there's more GLP-1, our body is able to bring down the sugar even faster. So you don't have to release so much of insulin at the same time. Like GLP-1 can work together with insulin to remove the excess sugar, to remove it even faster from our bloodstream. So this leads to, a much lower blood sugar and insulin level. So GLP-1 is actually very central in helping to reverse, insulin resistance. Okay, it helps our body to process that a lot faster, and in terms of regulating and lowering excess sugar and insulin in our body. Okay, so how can we achieve that through natural ways? Right. So this is a very important conversation. So we have this thing called the Unimate, all right, that our scientists have actually done research studies to show that individuals who are on Unimate are able to observe a much increased amount of GLP-1 in their body. So this is post-taking Unimate, okay? We can see a close to a double increase in their GLP-1 compared to those who are only drinking water. Okay, so this can really show that by taking Unimate, you can observe a lot more GLP-1 and can really help to suppress your appetite. Okay, so this is how it looks like as a visual. So this is just drinking water alone. And this is comparing to you taking yerba mate. So yerba mate has double, okay, the amount. So if you take more yerba mate, okay, if your body can take it, it's highly encouraged, okay? So it means that there'll be a lot more GLP-1 circulating your body, helping your body to clear out a lot of that excess sugar and insulin from your system. So that's going to help your liver a lot as well in how it should be metabolized in fact. Okay? So on top of that, of course, we have this bile F also, okay? It not just only play an important part in curbing that carbohydrate, it really does help to increase the GLP-1 because it's produced in our gut anyway. So there's these 6 fiber types to go through a fermentation process and they producing this thing called SCFA. All right. So this will signal our body to produce even more GLP-1, and it will also start to switch on the GLP-1 signal in our brain. Okay. So not all fiber can perform this duty. It needs to be a specific fiber that our bacteria can digest. Okay. And it has to be soluble fiber. So insoluble fiber cannot perform this function. So, and also with Biostart S, it can help to sustain our GLP-1 levels longer, and especially post-meal, okay, because our GLP-1 in the body drop very drastically, if you don't take any high fiber food. Okay, it also helps in aiding cholesterol levels, stabilizing blood sugar, and decreasing fat absorption. Again, all these things are very much beneficial for our overall well-being. Okay, so in terms of increasing GLP-1, okay, really this Feel Great is really one of the best out there that can give us this result, and we're not relying on anything medication to do that for us. So I think that it's really a great combination that we can do to manage our insulin level. All right. So third, I want to focus on optimizing the liver. All right. And I want to bring you to this conversation as to how Feel Great can help the liver. Is there a link or not? Is there a link? Okay. So what is the effect of GLP-1 to the liver? Okay, so GLP-1 to the liver. Okay, GLP-1, right? The receptor is on the pancreas, there's also receptor of GLP-1 in the liver. So GLP-1 will not only act in the receptor side of the pancreas, but also do the same thing for our, liver. So it will make our liver more sensitive to the action of insulin. So you need a little bit of insulin only. They don't need so much, okay? Just a little bit. Your liver will know what to do already. Okay? GLP-1 will prevent the liver from releasing excess sugar into the bloodstream. Okay, this is very important. And this is what happens when you don't have enough GLP-1. Okay, then our liver will think that, the blood actually has not enough sugar, so we keep releasing excess sugar into the body. So this is the one thing, it will stop that from happening. And because there will be lesser sugar storage, just now we learned, right? When there's a lot of sugar in the bloodstream, it will go into your liver, right? And you store as fat. And because GLP-1 will stop that from happening, so our body will not, the liver will not store so much fat. Okay, it actually decreases fat accumulation in the liver. It will stop that process from happening. And as a result, there will be less LDL and TG cholesterol that will be released into the bloodstream. Okay, so you don't have so much circulating cholesterol and everything. So overall, there will be less reduction of fat production and accumulation of fat, even in your visceral fat and this kind of thing. So actually, it all has a relationship. Okay, sugar, how it enters into a liver, and how liver produce fat and all that. So GLP-1 will stop this thing from happening. Okay, once you stop the insulin, then everything about fat accumulation and producing fat will be liver. So then our liver will then know how to do the other job, which is to stop producing fat. Okay, this is a very important signal that we have to teach our liver to do. So it will not store fat, but we use the fat for energy for us. Okay? Okay, in fact, we also have this supporting data that the science team have done. They realized that taking Unimate actually increases the antioxidant levels in the liver. Okay, consumption of Unimate result in increase of glutathione. Okay, I don't know if you heard of this or not. It's a very popular antioxidant and a very important one for our liver. And if the more glutathione your liver produces, it means that it's healthier. Okay, it's able to resist more inflammation. Okay, so this is the graph that shows Unimate increase quite a lot, 1,000 units of this glutathione in our body. Right, it's able to increase that. And it shows that, hey, Feel Great not just only helps to increase GLP-1, it also has a protective effect to our liver. So I think this is really good and beneficial news for all right? That you're not just only helping your insulin, but also your liver health as well. Okay, so I'm going to the last segment. I hope I'm not, throwing it too much information. But I realize that this is also a very important part because we want to think of ways of how we can optimize our liver even better. So on top of the Feel Great, right? Okay, there's this thing called curcumin. All right, I think you've heard of curcumin, right? So curcumin is this active ingredient that we can find in turmeric that improves fatty liver disease through some mechanism. First of all, it removes fat from the liver and decreases the synthesis of triglyceride. Right? So curcumin has this function to help our liver to dispense, to stop all this fat from accumulating. Okay, turmeric is also known for its liver detoxifying properties as well as anti-inflammatory and cancer-fighting characteristics. And some studies suggested that the positive effect of curcumin supplementation on liver enzymes and liver profile. So there are studies that shows how curcumin can actually help our liver in their liver enzyme and our lipid profile also. So high cholesterol actually has a lot to do with the liver. Okay, yeah, because it influences how our liver will to produce and to release even more LDL and whatnot. Okay, and I want to stress this important thing because many people think that they can just take curcumin from turmeric. Okay, you're not wrong. Okay, you're not wrong on that. Okay, just that the content is not the same. Okay, so you can be taking one whole big turmeric, but actually a curcumin is very little, right? Because turmeric in food only contains about 2 to 6% curcumin, very, very little. So even if you take the whole batang, the whole thing, you're only consuming a very small percentage. So experts say to stick with curcumin supplements, preferably the high quality extract used in clinical trials which contains up to 95%. So you want to find a supplement that gives you 95% curcumin. All right. So with that, only you know that you're actually taking curcumin, not just only the turmeric, right? It doesn't really have the active ingredient anyway. Okay, so it's best to actually take in the form of supplement. Okay, so of course, this is where I have to introduce our joint mobility, right? Who knew it can actually link to liver health? Okay, so curcumin is very hard for our body to absorb. Okay, only 2 to 3% will end up in your bloodstream. It's just the nature of it. It just absorbs not as well. So unicity joint mobility is 95% curcumin. So we have already adjusted it to this kind of potency. It's a very well-rounded formula. We also combine with other powerful antioxidants, which is phosphorus. So this also further reduces inflammation. So if you take phosphorus, the effect of the curcumin is even better. All right. So it's better than a pure curcumin formula actually. So with phosphorus, the effect on the liver could be even better, right? Further reduce inflammation. And Colaflex also is the same thing. It's also, concentrated 95%. But we don't have phosphorus. So for this, we replace it with black pepper. Okay, so it also helps with absorption. It also helps with, the detoxification function in our body as well. Okay, so to increase the absorption of these supplements, take curcumin with a meal where you consume some fat. Okay, you need some fat for absorption. And best to take with eating meal. So you can maximize the benefits of eating. Okay, they do say that this absorption is best, especially when you're sleeping at night. So if you are taking this, suggest you to take after your dinner, okay, to experience the effect. So, of course, we know that joint mobility, one of the core functions is really for inflammation, anti-inflammatory. So this is the dosage for joint pain or those who have osteoarthritis. So of course, osteoarthritis, the dosage is higher. So for joint mobility, you may have to take 2 in the morning and 2 at night for those that are very bad joint pain. But if you're talking about liver, right, actually 2 tablets a day is quite good already. And especially for those who are going through a bit of a stagnant phase, you can actually take 2 a day, okay, to see how it works for you. But for general maintenance, 1 capsule is fine now. But if you want to really max out on that effect, you can actually take 2 a day for joint mobility. Okay? All right, okay. One more important point that I want to stress is actually protein. Who knew, right? That actually protein is a very important nutritional cornerstone for detoxification. Actually, without protein, our body cannot detoxify. Okay, these toxins have to bind to something, so it will bind to our protein to be removed from the liver. So it's actually very important. So if there isn't enough protein, especially with the food that we take, then it's going to slow down our liver as well. Okay, it also helps to stabilize blood sugar and minimize hunger and craving. So it's very important to normalize our blood sugar and this kind of thing. So actually protein is quite important. All right. So whenever possible, try to incorporate a protein source in every meal. So that's why, for those that are having problems with their weight and stuff, we always encourage you to have a quick protein in your diet whenever you can. All right. So this is quite a loaded slide, okay, there's a lot to talk about the liver. In fact, I'm actually not done. All right, I realize there's still a lot to talk about it. So we're going to continue part two, in the next month. So what have we learned today? It's a lot of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to summarize it for you. So we have learned that liver is more than a detox organ. Okay, it's actually a metabolic organ. Okay, people don't realize. The only thing is, okay, just for those alcoholics, okay, they have to take care of their liver. But no, okay, in fact, how would you store more fat? Okay, why are you having so much fat issues? Okay, it may be due to the liver. Okay, it's very important. And there is no good metabolic health without good liver. Okay, if your liver is not responding how it should, you are storing fat the whole time. Okay, and you're not burning or using the fat as energy. So there are three important checkpoints to consider. Number one, you have to control the impact of food. You have to, okay, and especially taking outside food. So that's why Balsa F actually is very important now. All right, it's not just Uni Mate. So it's two products for a reason, okay? And we have to manage food insulin level. So with the GLP-1 from Uni Mate and Balsa F, it can really help us to increase that GLP-1 and of course optimizing the liver. So if we can off and on do a liver detox, I think that's pretty important for general health. Okay. So feel great helps to manage all three pointers. Okay. But for added liver support, you can take joint mobility, and also protein is important for us to keep that our liver function optimally. All right. Okay. So that is for today. Today's presentation. So I'm going to introduce you to our next topic for the month of August. All right. So we'll be doing in a way similar but not really. Okay. So for next the 13th is in June. So this one we will go really technical into it will also talk about the liver. All right. Can't run away from it, but it will be a bit of a part two with what we have learned today. Be more in depth into fat, because today we covered a lot about controlling insulin and all that, right? So this one we really go very detailed about fat, and like you said, its origin, how it functions, and how to overcome its stubborn nature. Okay, how can we hack this thing? Right. So this is a very interesting session that I encourage you to come and attend. This is a Zoom session. So on the 20th, we will also tap on the same topic, but of course there will be some modification because it's a live event. So we will try to make things more relatable, and we will also bring in a bit of GLP-1 into it to make it suitable for a physical session. So it's kind of similar, but not really. Okay, but of course the topic is the same. Right, we will be covering on the science aspect. So stay tuned, and I hope to see you all on both of these days. Okay? Okay, so of course, if there isn't any, it's also fine, no problem. Means everybody is very well educated on this topic. So I just want to stress again that liver is very important, okay? So we cannot just only look at the area of feel great. Of course, both of these is very important. But if you are facing any problems, or you have friends or family that if they are going through a difficult time with their weight or even cholesterol for that matter, they can actually try taking joint mobility to do a bit of a liver detox, because that can actually be very helpful and beneficial for our body to further metabolize, okay? And it can actually help our body to to better regulate our cholesterol level and even our fat. Okay. So I highly encourage you, if you want, you can actually introduce your friends to joint mobility. It's not just only for the joints, actually, it's very important for our liver as well. Okay. So if you have not tried, I highly encourage you to try that as well. All right. So please feel free to join us on the 13th, and we'll continue this part two of the training, and we will see you there. All right. Thank you everyone for your presence tonight, and we will see you again soon. Bye bye.